I am somebody who was very fortunate because I grew up with my grandparents living just a few blocks away from our house. And it was not an easy walk, depending upon the time of year in San Diego, but most of the time it was certainly a walkable distance. And we spent time at their house and they spent time at our house. But of course, as a little kid, the fun things are really in Grandma and Grandpa's house, because they had all the cool stuff that you got to visit. Now, it wasn't just that they had a massive collection of tools. They did. They had been in the automobile industry, both as mechanics and car dealers for many, many years, and so there was all of that fun stuff. And they had been in the wooden toy business for many years, so they had all of the wooden toys. But it wasn't just the new stuff. It was, well, what now I would call antiques. But they weren't antiques so much in my grandparents' house. They were just things that they had lying around. And they had the woodworking things, the huge old hand planers, the giant push-me, pull-me cross-cut saws. And they had numerous things left over from old school buildings, old-timey desks, still with the inkwell in it, the hang-on-the-wall kind of telephone with the rotary thing, and, of course, a kitchen full of items left over from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and on up into, well, when I got to know them in the 70s. But for tonight, the most magical thing they had that I used to love playing with, even though they told me I was going to hurt myself or my brother, were the ice tongs. Now, I'm not talking about those little rinky-dink, ice bucket tongs. I'm talking the giant scorpion pincher type ice tongs. 2 huge spikes with a metal handle and chain at the other end that you would latch onto a block of ice and then lift to carry it around. If you've ever seen the opening part of Frozen, you know what I'm talking about. Chances are, however, you don't see these in your daily life anymore. And it was just magical to play with those, to walk around, grab things, lift them up, and then be told I was hurting or damaging something or someone. But there was something just crazy to imagine that for hundreds of years, this was how you had something cold. That you didn't have cold because you had turned on the air conditioner. You didn't have cold because you had had a refrigerator or a freezer. You had cold because somewhere somebody had gone to a frozen lake and sawn part of the lake loose while it was ice, packed it up so that it would stay insulated, and then tried to get it to somewhere to throw into an ice box or an ice cellar or an ice house to be distributed and used in other parts of the country. It seems like a lot of work until you've tasted ice cream. And then you understand why people were climbing to the tops of mountains in the middle of Europe or going to the lakes in America to carve out chunks of ice in order to store them so that ideally, even year-round, people would be able to have ice cream. Because ice cream existed long before we had refrigeration. People discovered that with ice and a little bit of salt and a way of mixing the cream together inside that vat, that you could make it turn into this wonderful, frozen, creamy, amazing treat. And I think all of you can understand that that's worth climbing up a mountain and taking a saw and carving out ice and bringing it back to some place to enjoy. Yes? Good. But as I was thinking about this memory again in preparation for this Shabbat, it struck me how actually important ice cream is as a Jewish concept. Now, I'm not going to say that we've had ice cream since the days of Abraham. There's no evidence of ice cream, although there are some Akkadian tablets that do talk about shaved ice back in the day. So who knows? Maybe. Certainly it wouldn't have been a common treat. But obviously, we talk of Israel as being the land flowing with milk and honey. Dairy as a form of sweetness has long been a very important part of our faith. It's, of course, a signature ingredient in our celebration of Shavuot, which we just celebrated last Shabbat. And as such, dairy and, dare I say, ice cream is very important. But metaphorically, it's even more important. So let me just ask you, what do you guys like on your ice cream? What do you like on your sundae here? Because we got all these different toppings. Yes? The chocolate syrup. So you're a purist of vanilla with chocolate syrup, that's it. Got it. Caramel. Caramel, just caramel.
Well, I like with pecans.
A little bit of
nice
pecans,
I mean,
whipped cream, very good. Anyone throwing a cherry on top? Cherries out of fashion now. They're not as cool as they used to. Oh, we got a cherry hand back there. Very good, very good. Anyone go for the fluff? Or is this not a fluff crowd? There we go. Thank you. Right? Especially in the areas where it's hard to get kosher marshmallows, fluff as a kosher substitute is an incredible, incredible thing because it's good. And by the way, easiest s'mores you ever make, just make them with fluff. No messing about with the fireplace. Although fire's kind of cool too. But we can do a sermon about fire another day. But you'll notice nobody here, it seems, has the same bowl of ice cream. But you're all having ice cream. So too with Judaism. Nobody's Judaism looks exactly like everyone else's Judaism. We are not a one-size-fits-all kind of people. We are not a one-size-fits-all kind of religion. And I'm not just talking about the difference between Sephardic and Ashkenazic and Mizrahi, and I'm not just talking about the fact that some people use Yiddish and some people use Ladino and some people use Hebrew. And it's not just about the ingredients in our different regional dishes, but substantive differences of how we celebrate a holiday, of who can or cannot participate in different events, who is looked to as being a leader in a community. Those are different around the world, sometimes different from one synagogue to another down the street. And that's okay. That's okay. Judaism does not demand that we swear allegiance to a line-by-line catechism that binds us all into an identical expression of our faith. Instead, Judaism says, look, as long as you're having ice cream, if you want sprinkles, have sprinkles. And if you want to have nuts, go nuts. And if you want whipped cream, go whipped cream. That's fine. As long as we're eating ice cream, we're okay. Now, if you want to have a hot dog, well, that is a different, kettle of fish. I'm mixing metaphors there. But if you want to have a sundae, come. Take that core of Judaism, that shared sweetness of our faith that God granted to all of us, and decorate it as you wish. Allow it to express your own tastes, your own loves, your own passions, and let it be something that is especially sweet for you. Judaism is meant to conform to each of us, even as we conform to it. And we are meant to always have room for each of us, to not demand, why don't you have sprinkles on your ice cream? It's forbidden to have ice cream without sprinkles. No, that is not the Jewish way. The Jewish way is to say, oh, you like sprinkles. I haven't tried that. Maybe I will. And if I like it, maybe it'll go on my ice cream next time. And if I don't, you can keep having it and I won't. The Jewish commitment to pluralism has been a key ingredient to the continuation of our people. That we have been able to be a living, breathing, flexible, tolerant group of people that have had our passion focused through our faith in a way that allows us to continue to persevere despite all of the obstacles, but a passion which never pushed away others who just want to decorate their ice cream a little differently. May we always find that room in our heart. May we always recognize that someone else's addition may be something that we too would love, and that even if we don't, they have the right to make that addition. They have the right to put on that topping. Let us all find that sweetness. Let us all enjoy, and I think we've still got more ready to go. Shabbat Shalom, and happy ice cream eating. If you are interested in the story of how the Sunday itself got going, which is a story of religious intolerance, you might be interested to know, ask me after the service and I'll fill you in on how religious intolerance created the Sunday as we know it. There's more strange things in American history of people being bullies with religion than you can imagine. Okay.